Hello everyone, this is Eric, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Big Call, a Chinese suspense crime thriller from 2017 that was directed by Oxide Pang. A young police constable, played by Cheney Chen, is haunted by a tragic event from his past. His former teacher committed suicide after being conned by an organization of phone scammers who bankrupted him. So these scammers are highly successful and operate across multiple countries, which makes them difficult to track and stop. So our policeman protagonist joins a special task force, the Anti-Telecom Fraud Center, and assists a female undercover agent to take these bad guys down. Now, one of the best aspects of The Big Call is that it's very detailed in showing how these criminals use phone call scams to trick people into giving away their money. There's a lot of content and development with this, and they explain a lot of it. You know, as a viewer, you really come away from this film with a pretty good understanding of the specific techniques that they use to scam people, and also how the criminals within the organization work together to successfully con people out of their money. You know what I mean? And they show the structure of the criminal organization. You know, you need this person to do this person to do this, and they work in tandem to really churn through, or to, con the most money they can out of people. So it's actually quite interesting to watch, and it represents the foundation of the entire film. It's also pretty dramatically impactful when they start targeting random everyday people who may only have a modest amount of savings, and they just get wiped out by these guys. And this kind of thing is more realistic than you might think. You know, phone scams are a big-time issue nowadays. I mean, I personally get a few phone scams every month. You know, people try to scam me every month. I get at least a few of them. One time, I was told that I owed $4,000 in back taxes and that a warrant would be issued for my arrest if I did not immediately transfer the money and pay off my back taxes. So in response to that threat, I told the guy that he was a scam artist, and I hung up the phone. And that was a few years ago, so if I really owed it, I'm sure the government would have contacted me by now. The IRS don't play games, right? So it's just one example, right? So The Big Call explores some extremely relevant topics, and I think it's successful in informing people about this stuff, which is a good thing. Now, the editing in this film was slightly too frenetic for my liking. There's a lot of camera angle changes, handheld camera work as well, even during the dramatic dialogue scenes. It did distract me a little bit at the start, but I kind of got used to it after a while, and it does help to create an incredibly fast pace to the film. I mean, this is 2 full hours long, and there is no dull filler in this film at all. There's like none. It really keeps you engaged the entire time, and the editing and camera work kind of helps to do that, I think. And you better pay attention to this, because it moves. This movie moves, man. It keeps moving. So you got to pay attention. But I really like that aspect because it keeps you engaged. There's actually a lot of suspense in this film. You know, the villains are continually targeting victims, potential victims, and the police task force is constantly monitoring and trying to gather evidence against them. But the good guys need to be quick on their feet as well, because, you know, this criminal organization is so complex and has multiple moving parts. So there's some good stuff in this. And as an added bonus, the conflict kind of ramps up near the end with a pretty satisfying finale. The headline performance in The Big Call is one of my favorite actresses, Kwai Lunmei. And she gets to play a convincing villain in this one, with some multidimensionality as well. Yes, she's the bad girl in this, and she gets a lot of screen time, because she's the ringleader of the organization along with her lover. So within the opening 10 minutes of this film, she shows up, and she's prevalent throughout the entire film. I was very happy with this, because for some reason I incorrectly assumed that she would have a small supporting role, because I saw her as like the third billed cast member on like the cast list. And plus, you know, the fact that she was the villain in the film, like, oh, they'll just go back to her once in a while. But it's not the case. I was wrong. We get a lot of her. Any film that gives Kwai Lunmei this much screen time will benefit from it, and The Big Call certainly benefits from it. She's very good in this. Actually, everyone is good in this one. The girl who plays the undercover agent, I liked. Lots of suspenseful interaction between her and Kwai's character. You know, there's definitely some cat and mouse scheming going on here, because the undercover agent is trying to work for these scammers while at the same time gathering evidence against them without getting caught. So there's some good stuff here. I also like the guy who plays the lover of Kwai, the other bad guy. His character basically is out in the field much of the film, and he's engaging in like personal vendettas against other people, and in some cases you end up rooting for him. Like, he gets embarrassed at like a business conference, a legit business conference, and he like targets the guy who embarrasses him for like a scam, and you almost like want to see him scam this guy because the dude's such a jerk. So there's a lot of good character interaction to enjoy. In terms of some possible negatives and flaws, the cops do seem almost a bit too smart for their own good in this film. You know, some of their leads tend to pan out for them, even if they employ some slightly improbable tactics. But I suppose it's better than portraying them as bumbling oafs, right? Like we get that in a lot of Korean films, right? But they're not like that. I was actually pretty impressed by the police work in this film. So, and that's kind of a positive quality to the script writing usually. So it was actually kind of good. But it does get a little unrealistic in that aspect. Also, there are a few improbable coincidences that pop out once in a while, but it's not excessive, and the film moves so fast, you forget about it when it happens anyway, so not a big deal. But I very much enjoyed The Big Call. This is a solid flick. I think this is Oxide Pang's most entertaining film in years. It's good. Very suspenseful and interesting stuff. So I definitely recommend it, and it's available on Region 3 DVD with English subtitles. And as always, I'll see you next time.